For the Essex County project, I chose John Adams' house as my site. I chose this site because I was very interested in the fact that a president lived so close to where I live. And not only was John Adams a president, he played a major role in creating the United States. The home and land around it is named Peacefield after the peace created by John Adams and Company between Great Britain and the United States. John was the original owner of the house, although 4 generations of the Adams family lived on the land for over 149 years. As far as the Revolution goes, John Adams and his family were the only significant members to live there. Some other notable names who lived there were John Quincy Adams, who was also a president, Henry Adams, and Brooks Adams, who were both very wealthy historians. Abigail Adams, John's wife, also lived there, as she was very important in the Revolution. John Adams did much of his thinking inside the house, as well as Abigail. John was very important in terms of the Revolution and creating the United States. Sadly, during most of this time, John was in England and France, acting as an ambassador for the soon-to-be country. This bothered Abigail, as it only worsened the fact that she did not like the house very much. She had made some of her own additions throughout the years, which angered John when he was home. These new additions were, although, very elegant. John was a fierce personality. He had his own way of thought and always stuck to it. The man who opposed him most was Thomas Jefferson. Before becoming president, John Adams was the first vice president to George Washington. John viewed the position as undesirable and pointless. When John became president, Thomas Jefferson was his vice president. They would not only butt heads over the position itself, but they would bicker over political views. At the end of John Adams' run of presidency, the people viewed them as friends, although this remains to be proven. Abigail Adams was possibly the most impactful woman in all of the Revolution. At the time, women were viewed as uneducated and unuseful. Abigail was actually smarter than most men. She was so bright that they looked up to her sometimes. As powerful as John was, Abigail was an equal match. John Adams enjoyed this house very much. By the end of the Revolution, the establishment of the United States, he longed to retire at Peacefield, but it couldn't have been that easy. John was thrust into the scene of vice president, which he was not happy with. He did not think the position needed to exist. It would not end there for John. After serving as vice president, he was thrust into the president's role. He would not be the last of the family to serve there. John Quincy Adams served as the 6th president of the United States. You can see in the House that he took very much pride in the position. He added what he called the presidential walkway in the House. As special as it sounds, it wasn't much for the eye. It seemed to be a simple hallway. John Quincy ended up using his grandfather, John Adams' office as his own. Brooks Adams and Henry Adams did not quite fulfill the legacy left behind by their presidential relatives. They were both very wealthy and lived in the house together, as both of them worked the same job. They were historians. They would actually study their own relatives. Many important people walked the halls and slept in the beds at Peacefield, now 1250 Hancock Street, Quincy, Massachusetts.